Hi, my name is Renato Vasconcelos. I am the director of the Brazilian Music Lab. We want to help you understanding and also playing Brazilian music. So I have 3 tips for you now. Tip number 1, Brazilian music should be played in 2/4 instead of 4/4. Let me explain you. You don't do like this. Olha que coisa mais linda, mais cheia de graça. You don't count in 4. You should count it in 2. Olha que coisa mais linda, mais cheia de graça. Ela, menina que vem e que passa no doce balanço caminho do mar. Let me give you 2 reasons for using 2/4 instead of 4/4. The first one is about the body movement. You go from one side to the other. I'm using the surdo, the low drum, the heartbeat of the samba and also of the bossa nova to show you. Okay, the surdo goes like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and now I go from one side to the other. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, instead of the walking 4 that we use in jazz, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here is gonna be better for you if you feel like doing a binary movement. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, the second reason I'll show you on a paper, looking at a written version of the tune. Okay, it's a matter of visual appeal of the music. Come with me.
Okay, I'm not showing you on paper like I promised, but I'm showing you on the computer screen. It's pretty much the same idea. Okay, here I wrote the 4 first measures of the song Desafinado. Pa pa da ba pa 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 pa. Everything is kind of displaced, you know. And here is in 4/4. It's the same music. If I speed up double time here, it will sound exactly the same way. But what's the advantage I'm seeing here? Here I have the beats, the first and the second beat, organized and visually call the attention by the brackets. You know, I have this figure, this other figure, and they are all connected by the bracket. Here I have the same figure, but there's no connection between the notes. So I understand that if you get used to read and write this way, you find that this type of notation has an advantage. And I'll show you here. Here we have the possible subdivisions of 1/4 note. Here I have like ta 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 ta, and here ta 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 ta, and here ta 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 ta, and here ta 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 ta. The most important subdivision of samba. Ta 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 ta, and here ta 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 ta, and ta 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 ta. You see the same subdivisions here. If I had to work on 2/2 or 4/4, I'll have like 2/4 notes here, but I don't see the connection between the parts because I don't have the bracket connecting the notes. So this is what I think is an advantage of writing and reading in 2/4.
Tip number 2. Don't use the real book as a source for Brazilian music. I have been using this book for more than 40 years. It's a wonderful book. I learned a lot from it. But when it comes to Brazilian music, don't trust it. Don't use it.
Okay, let me explain why I was so emphatic when I said don't use the real book. Okay, here we have the first four measures, one cut of the page of the real book where you find the tune desafinado. Okay, here is written pa pa da pa 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 da pa 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 ba. The notes are correct, but the rhythm is totally wrong. Okay, if I had to write it in 4/4, I just told you that I would rather write in 2/4 instead of 4/4 for all that reasons I already told you. But if I had to write the same cut in 4/4, I could do much better than this if I use all the syncopation and subtle regrouping of notes. You know, here. Pa pa da ba pa 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 pa. The same notes here, the same notes that the real book used, but the sound resulting of my syncopation is something closer to what we listen on the recordings. That's why I'm telling you, don't trust the real book, this wonderful book. But in terms of Brazilian music, they don't know what they are doing.
In my doctoral thesis, published in 2017, called The Lead Sheet and the Misunderstanding of Fake Books, I analyzed several fake books from the 40s until the present days. I gave special attention to the real book, and I was lucky enough to learn that most of the tunes included on this book, especially the standards, they were copied from previous editions instead of transcribed. The Brazilian tunes, they were copied from editions from 62, I think, by the published Hollis Music. And they released several Jobim's tunes. And it's interesting that in Jobim's website, I found a copy of one of these tunes with Jobim's handwriting calligraphy saying tudo errado or everything wrong. He was not happy with the editions published by American publishers. And he manifested, he said this in several interviews, and that's why I'm saying again, don't trust the real book when you want to read Brazilian music. Here is the sheet music that I just told you. This is the music published by Hollis Music in 62, previously published by Editora Musical Arapuã in Brazil in 59. But on top, here written in pencil, you can see tudo errado. That means everything wrong. So in my research, I found out that most of Brazilian tunes were copied from editions like that by the real book. They did an extremely good job transcribing things from modern jazz, tunes by Wayne Shorter, by Herbie Hancock. But even the jazz standards, they copied from editions. And in my PhD dissertation, I proved this. This is what I want to share with you. Tip number 3. If you want to learn Brazilian music, look for a Brazilian instructor. Find a native Brazilian that can share with you the cultural aspects of our music. I love jazz. Since I was 15, I tried to absorb and learn the jazz repertoire. I started listening to recordings. Years later, I discovered the real book, where I learned a lot of jazz standards. It took me 20 years working on this way. until I went to the US to pursue a master's degree in jazz. And was very interesting how I discovered a new world. Nowadays, you don't need to go to a country to learn their music and their culture. The internet, the online courses can help you doing this. It would be great if you could come to Brazil and enjoy our food, our weather, our people playing music on the streets. It would be great for you. But while you cannot do this, even because of the pandemic times we're living now, come to Brazilian Music Lab and learn with us. We have a lot of stuff prepared for you, and you will save time instead of transcribing, which is good for you. I already did the transcriptions and I prepare several lead sheets for you. You can trust these ones because I spent a lot of time doing this for you. Come to the Brazilian Music Lab.